We turn our attention to alt-to-alt investments. The American Masters Collection is a great example. It's a real asset investment opportunity fund. It invests in museum-quality 20th century American art pieces. The fund's 100 investors participate in a timeshare of sorts, rotating possession of collection pieces. Now, it has about $20 million in assets. To date, it has sold about 15% of its holding and used proceeds to acquire new pieces. Stephen Halliwell is the managing director at the Collectors Fund. He runs the now closed fund, and because it's closed, Stephen, I can say that it has actually given, on average, annualized returns of 25% to its investors, which is obviously an amazing return, especially in these volatile times. We're glad you could come in and talk to us on Money Moves.
Glad to be here.
You are the finance guy. I want to point out the founder is Sandy Kemper, and of course he founded the museum in Kansas City, of course the Kemper Museum of Contemporary Art. And
yes.
You and he had this idea together,
yes,
to blend the best of both worlds, essentially.
Right, financial appreciation, we hope, and art appreciation. The idea was to allow investors the pleasure of having real museum quality art in their homes and have the economic upside as investors in a pooled asset. So we've taken the best of the fractional ownership notion and applied that to fine art. And so far, it's going very, very well. Our realized gains...
It's about 10 years, I'm sorry to interrupt, right, that you
yes.
have had the fund up and running?
No, the fund's been up since 2007. It will have a 10-year life. So we finished year 3, and we closed in December 2010 to new members with 100 families participating in it. And we have sold about 15% of the portfolio so far with the right to reinvest in, and we're still buying.
So, Stephen, essentially, if I am a wealthy investor who enjoys American contemporary art, and let's say your fund were still open, I would give you a fixed sum of money. In return for that, I'm investing in your fund, so I'm an investor in the fund. On the flip side, I also get to enjoy these pieces of art on a rotating basis. What are the insurance costs like?
The insurance costs are actually phenomenally low because insurers don't like to have all of their risk in one physical location. They like the distribution of the art across homes, all of which have security systems, all of which promise not to smoke in the presence of these works of art. We hang them in their homes. So the insurance company, we work with AXA Fine Art, is very happy to have all of its insured assets in different parts of the country. And
as you mentioned, in secure places,
exactly.
Homes with security, and homes that obviously are respectful of the pieces as well.
Right, absolutely.
What have been some of the pieces that have gained the most? What are the ones that have been your rock stars? Well,
we have a few pieces that we could look at. We have a Marston Hartley, which is in our collection. I think you showed that in the lead-up to the program. Hartley was an artist who worked in Maine, and he also painted in the Southwest. He's a friend of Stieglitz, who was married to Georgia O'Keeffe, and so he worked in the Southwest, and we were able to buy privately this piece. It's a situation that comes up more often than we'd like to see, but this is
because the family and the owners were distressed, or
there was a divorce going on. It was not a happy divorce. The owner didn't want the piece to go to auction, and we typically don't buy at auction. We buy privately. We were able to buy it at a very good price, and within a few weeks there was a piece at auction, very similar, same period, that was 3 times the value of what we had paid. Went for 3 times as much. So there's good opportunities out there for you. And Hartley, I should say, we just have held that in our collection. We're not trying to sell that at this point. We have realized gains, a piece by Charles Birchfield, which has about a 25% per annum IRR net of all fees to the fund. We've sold a Franz Klein that has a 16% IRR, again net of all fees to the management company. So we're selling pieces at a nice return.
Stephen, this is so interesting. I mean, in this time of volatility, stocks have had such a rough year. Gold is at a 6-week high. It hit a record a few months ago. There is so much uncertainty, and this art fund has returned such solid returns to your investors. I can brag about the percentage because it's close 25% on an annualized basis. In times of stress, recessionary by technical definition or not, it seems as if art holds up pretty well.
Yes, art is a very good diversification in a portfolio. It has characteristics as an asset class that are very different from stocks or bonds. So you can see in a recessionary period that while stocks may be suffering, art actually does quite well.
I mean, and just looking at this last date range between 66 and 75, I mean, you and I were just talking during that quick break, the fact that those were the Nixon years, you had gold liberated, there are some parallels to what's going on now.
And the debt was being run up very quickly for guns and butter in Vietnam. So we see a lot of parallels. And we expect, we're a 10-year fund, we expect that the increase in the money supply is going to mean at some point severe inflation, and art also does very, very well as a hedge against inflation.
Yeah, people want to own what they know and what will hold value. Stephen, we hope you come back. This was great. This is Stephen Halliwell joining us there. He is a managing director at the Collectors Fund. As we mentioned, he runs the American Master Collection Investments. Really interesting alt investment for this Friday.